outside of me just being a pro player, because I do think like pro players have an idea of stuff, and there's like a chance that like pro players, they just play, right? And they're not like too educated on stuff. Whereas I have like basically tried out like just as like an experiment. I've with my sense, I've with my chair height, I've changed my monitor tilt, and I've like legit documented it in my head of like, oh, how does this like change which muscles I use, and also with like grips and shit as well with like your mouse. So like I've done like a bunch of like ergonomic shit. And so I didn't actually realize the impact that a desk height would have on your aim. Like I think a desk height actually does have quite a big significance. I wonder if I could show it real quick. I could do like an aim lab. I could put my desk to 29.5 and you can see how much I'm just like a nerd. So that's why I know this type of stuff. So for example, right now, because my desk is set to 30.5, just because kind of like the VCT thing. And I mean, if I ever were to come back, I don't want to have to like get from the desk height, but let me see what this does. So for me personally, when I am using a desk height of this size, my arm feels a lot more anchored and my wrist usage is a lot more for like a high desk. That's what I realize. And that's just because it's hard to orient my arm. It's hard to move my arm for me personally when my arm is like high up like this. So it's like going like that. Compared to if your arm is lower, it feels like a lot more natural to use your arm with your wrist. So that's why like desk height does change a lot. So like this is majority wrist right here with, what is it? 30.5 inches where I can like just track fine. But it's all wrist movement right here. So you'll notice that my aim will be a lot more flicky just because it's straight wrist and the wrist is like really fast. Now, if I did lower my desk to 29.5, I might not aim as well right now just because I'm not used to it. But I think you'll notice rather than my aim being flicky, it will have some feeling of stability to it. And the reason being is because rather than just straight wrists, I'm actually using my arm. Obviously, this is this task is probably not so great to show, but it's probably because it has like vertical elements to it. So I'm using my arm regardless. So this one probably wasn't a good one to show, but because of my arm usage, like I'm going up with my arm, I'm going like slowly right with my arm rather than just doing straight wrists. So it's the action of like doing this compared to doing this. So it changes like the ratio at which you use your wrist to arm movement. But that can change a lot for a player. Like I definitely think for like especially high sense players, that probably changes so much because you have to have a certain way that you can move your mouse to control it and like utilize your muscles to like the most precise way. And maybe that's a reason why you'll notice that all of the low sense players in VCT just dominate. And because I do think for low sense, the lower your sense, the less your setup matters because it's more like easier to aim. Like it's a lot more stable and easier to orient your mouse around. So maybe that's why like everyone is just using like 0.1 at 1600 because like it's just easier to move in like that high desk element. Because you're not able to change everything at the desk, it's hard to orient the setup in a way where you could use your muscles ideally the way that you want. So by switching to a lower sense, there's less margin for error and then it becomes easier not to fuck up as much. There, I think I explained it well there.